Today, something new for the channel. Xiaomi has sent me the Redmi Watch 3 for me to be able to tell you everything that I learned and discovered about it. I like to paint mental pictures, so let me explain. About 10 years ago was my first experience with the smartwatch. It was a very expensive one and it had a camera, and the coolest feature for me was being able to take spy pictures or clicky. Sorry, spoiler alert, this is the watch. But it was a novelty that wore out extremely quickly when I had that watch. It was expensive, the battery didn't last long, and it didn't really have any cool features besides it could tell the time and you could receive phone calls on it. So needless to say, my expectations weren't exactly high when receiving this watch, but spoiler alert, I really enjoyed it. Before we dive too deep into the details, there's just some important aspects that I'd like to mention. And firstly, I wore this for about a month and a half before doing this review, and the only time I took it off was to charge it. So I will go into the nuanced detail later, but it lasted for about 7 days. This is going to depend on how many applications you're running concurrently with your phone to the watch, so user experience may differ. But the point was that I put it back on again, and we'll get into the reasons why, because, well, let me just do it now. I spoke to a lot of people that had smartwatches, some that did and some that don't, and the people that generally didn't use smartwatches were because they said, oh, it died after a couple of days and they got really tired of recharging it. So the fact of the matter is, I unconsciously, after charging this, went to go and find the watch and put it on again. So I felt that that was a very positive feature of this watch, was that I wanted the data that it was providing me. Spinning off on the point of the data that this was providing, I realized that this watch has so much information to offer. So the user experience is really what you make of it. I'm going to tell you about all the features and the benefits that it has, but you can kind of tailor make this watch to do what you want to do. If you want it for sport, yes, it can do that. If you want it for organization, you can do that. If you just want it to wake you up, which it did for me a couple of times, you can just set it to do that as well. So again, user experience is what you make of it. The main centralizing application connecting the watch to the phone is something called Mi Fitness, and you can sort of use the watch without it, but I really wouldn't. I don't encourage it at all. But I don't think that it should have been called Mi Fitness. I think that it should have been called Mi Health, because it does so much more than just logging workouts or tracking your fitness. Now, embarrassingly, I did not work out once during the month and a half that I wore this watch, but I did find the information extremely insightful. Well, actually, embarrassingly, when washing the dishes one day, maybe a bit too rigorously, the watch asked me, hey, did you just start cycling? And I wasn't, so I really felt for the first time that I've let a watch down. The watch comes in black and ivory. Its dimensions are 42.58 by 36.56 by 9.99 millimeters. So a rather small form factor, just over the dimensions of about a 5 Rand coin. The watch weighs 37 grams, and that is with the standard strap that it comes with. The strap is made of TPU or thermoplastic polyurethane. Its size is 135 to 200 millimeters. So basically this means that it can accommodate many different wrist sizes. Onto sensors, it has a heart rate sensor with a blood oxygen sensor or OSAT sensor. It also has an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a geomagnetic sensor. For those that do want to know, it does have satellite positioning systems with BeiDou, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, as well as QZSS. The battery is 289 milliamps, meaning that it can last up to 12 days, but that is again typical usage depending on what you do. The display is a 1.75 inch AMOLED touch display. The resolution is 390 by 450 on pixels, brightness up to 600 nits, and this means that you can actually, and it does have a torch feature, and it is adjustable. The glass has an anti-fingerprint coating, and one thing that I will mention is I did knock it against the wall a few times and it didn't scratch, so it also seems to have an anti-scratch feature. Other specifications, it does have a microphone and speaker, meaning that you can actually take and receive calls from the watch. The speaker is also used for any alerts as well as the alarm that wakes you up. It is 5 ATM water resistant, which means that it is water resistant up to 50 meters for 10 minutes. The Bluetooth standard on the watch is Bluetooth 5.2, and you do need an operating system of Android 6.0 or higher, or iOS 12 or higher to interface with the watch. Package contents, as you can see in front of you, is the watch, the magnetic charging cable, and a user manual. Syncing the phone to the watch is actually very easy and quite intuitive. If you do need some help with this, please feel free to reach out in the comment section below. And if a lot of people are struggling with this, I will make a video on how to set it up. But as mentioned, it's very intuitive in order to set up. All you need to do is install the Mi Fitness app, turn on the watch, and follow the prompts on both the watch and the phone in order to get it set up. Now let's look at the watch interface. So the first thing that you'll need to do is update the watch. This does take a little bit of time depending on your signal strength. I struggled a bit to be able to show you this. As you can see in front of you, it was like filming Blair Witch Project, but I did manage to put my hand up against the cupboard and get a good B-roll shot. This is one of the basic interfaces that you can get, and you are able to change this on the Xiaomi Home app, which I will show you later. But it does give you all the basic information you need. You are able to see all of your notifications. You are able to have other functionalities like being able to even turn on a torch, which is quite bright, especially for load shedding. Other features include being able to find your phone and even vibrating the water using the speaker in order to get residual water out of the speaker system. Depending on what you've downloaded, you are able to change the watch face within the side of the watch as well, but again, you will have to have downloaded that, and you'll see that on your screen here as to what the different applications that you can choose. One of the basic interfaces shows you how many calories you've burnt in the day, how many steps you've taken, or the pedometer steps on the day, your heart rate, as well as exercise minutes. You can also set how the watch measures your heart rate. It will measure it in intervals, or it can be constantly on, but be aware that this can consume battery. The watch also shows you the different events that you may have for the day, so you can see this by going into the events notification. It'll also alert you if you do have a meeting coming up, but this does have to be synced with your Google Diary. One cool measure I found was that the watch was able to tell me my stress levels, which I think it was lying, because I think I'm way more stressed than the watch says I am. So as you can see, there are many different applications inside the watch itself. Now on to the phone interface. As you can see, this is the Mi Fitness app, and what this does is it takes the detailed information that is received from your watch and puts it into a more legible format for you to be able to read and get more insight. And on this, you'll be able to get more information on your sleeping patterns, your steps, your calories burnt, the amount of standing time that you have, your OSATs, your stress, and you can even put in elements like your weight so that it can help you track your different goals. Personally, I really enjoyed the sleeping function because it told me how much good sleep I had, and it also told me at the hours that I generally go to bed, which is not exactly healthy. At 1 week, I was going to bed between 1 and 5 a.m. You'll also be able to see when doing a workout where you've physically been on a map, and this is through the GPS location that interfaces with your phone. So no matter if you're doing a cycle, a walk, or a run, you'll be able to have that distance physically posted in front of you so that you can see it and also be able to record it. There are many other features to the watch and phone, but it's going to take a lot more in-depth of a video to be able to go into every single detail that this has to offer. Now, I've mentioned this before, but again, the most important or the most enjoyable function of this watch was the amount of information that it was providing me. I found it to be very non-invasive, and when wearing the watch for a week or two, you almost don't realize it's there. Unless it's telling you to get up and walk the whole time, which it does, but you can turn that off. But I think that's also a very good thing, because it'll say, if you've been sitting in a position for too long, it'll say, hey, it's time to get up and take a walk, which also means that you are able to kind of take responsibility for your health in actually listening to the notifications that the watch gives you. One of the most awesome features that I found, which was more in the Mi Fitness app, was the ability to take control of my sleeping patterns. Now, what you can do is you can say set to do not disturb between this and this time. So I set it between 12 and say 6 a.m. where automatically your phone goes into do not disturb. This means that no one's going to be calling you or bothering you. For those that are worried for emergency phone calls, you can actually change that and say only allow this person to call or this person to call. But immediately I found that my stress levels dropped after 12, because I know that no one is going to get through to me or call me. And I know this seems weird, but yes, I do receive calls at all hours of the morning, depending on what needs to happen with regards to production. But it does happen. So I found this to be really, really advantageous, as well as the fact that on numerous occasions, the actual watch vibrates and also uses a speaker for an alarm clock, which has saved me on more than one occasion when having to get up for work. If you don't like the look or the functionality of this watch in particular, there are other watches in the Xiaomi range. These are the Redmi Smartband 2, the Xiaomi Smartband 7, the Redmi Watch 2 Lite, and the Xiaomi One S1 Active, all with their own individual features and benefits. Honestly, the Redmi Watch 3 has refreshed my perspective on the viability of smartwatches. Now, I don't say this too often, but at 2,000 Rand for me, it's a no-brainer, especially for the health benefits in being able to track your heart rate and your oxygen saturation, which is very, very needed in today's modern sort of culture, to be able to know what's going on and being on top of your health. My next mission is to get a hold of the S1 Active and see if that can further blow away my expectations of what a smartwatch can do. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave comments in the comment section below and I'll try and get back to each and every single one. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers, goodbye.